Hello, welcome back to the podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Barbara Bolick's strange disappearance. It's a 55-year-old woman who went missing in 2007 as she was hiking with a friend. And seems like the friend just turned around for a few moments, and the next thing, apparently, according to him, he sees that Barbara is nowhere to be seen. And there's a very strange circumstances that kind of surround this case. I'm here with Train. You never heard about Barbara's case, obviously.
No, never heard of it.
Yeah, me neither. I just found this case, and I found it very mysterious and kind of strange, and definitely wanted to talk about it. So I don't think anyone from the listeners specifically suggested this particular case, but definitely grabbed my attention. So let's talk about Barbara Bolick. So on July 18th, back in 2007, 55-year-old Barbara Bolick from Corvallis, Montana. Corvallis is a very small town in the state of Montana. It's like maybe 1,000 people live there, max.
Where is it exactly? Is it like closer to the capital? Not capital of like the city, the major city in Montana.
From the looks of it, it's not really close to anything. It's kind of like very rural, a small rural town. And she vanished without a trace on July 18th. From the Bear Creek Overlook, which was her favorite hiking trail. So she was kind of familiar with the place where she went missing from. On the day of her vanishing, Barbara had a guest named Jim accompanying her on the trail. He would go on to tell authorities that she had quietly disappeared when he looked away for just around 40 seconds. Barbara's sudden disappearance is bizarre, since she had hiked the trail countless times. On top of that, the trail was made up of loose shale rock, which would make a soundless exit of any kind difficult, if not impossible. So how did she escape or vanished without making any sounds? It's kind of baffling. No trace of Barbara or any indication of what could have happened to her has ever been found. Strange.
Extremely, yeah.
Barbara met her husband Carl Bolick in New Jersey while he was still in the Air Force. He went on to work for JP Morgan Chase Bank in New York City. We have a picture of Carl as well. After the two of them retired, the married couple moved to Corvallis, Montana in 2001. Carl was originally from Montana, but his wife had never lived there. However, Barbara was an avid hiker, and she soon grew to love her new home and frequently went on long hikes in the nearby Bitterroot Valley. The Bitterroot Valley offers many recreational activities, including hiking, backpacking, mountain biking, and rock climbing in the surrounding mountains, and birding and fishing along the Bitterroot River. The valley is popular with hunters for big game, upland birds, and waterfowl. Grizzly bear activity in the area has steadily increased since 2013, with officials saying that it is important to be extra cautious during recreational activities. So there is some dangerous wildlife in the Bitterroot Valley, according to my research. Worth taking into account.
It's pretty interesting because I am not as familiar as probably a regular American or regular people in terms of the landscape of the US. Understandably so. And I always pictured Montana as like this flat land.
Yeah, me too. For some reason, I guess that's the stereotype.
Yeah, and we missed it. I just Googled it, and the Google images, they look amazing.
Yeah, Montana seems like a nice place to have a hiking experience, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, look. Like so many mountains, so many rivers, very naturey.
Yeah, looks really cool actually.
Yeah, I kind of understand how a lot of people would just go out for a hike, because why not?
Well, Barbara did, but she never came back.
That one is very interesting.
So apparently this was the place where Barbara felt the best, this particular valley. That's why she would hike in the area on a very regular basis. On her hikes, Barbara always brought a backpack that contained food, water, and actually a .357 Magnum revolver for protection. So I think she was aware.
Oh, wow. She was prepared.
She was aware that there's wildlife that could potentially cause her harm.
And yeah, so sorry to ask this in advance, but that revolver, it was never fired, right?
Well, honestly, I think she went missing with her whole backpack, so we don't know what happened to it.
And the backpack was also never been found.
Nah. Or at least it's never been mentioned, so I'm just assuming that
Yeah, most likely.
she vanished with her backpack. So Montana is home to a variety of wild animals, including bears, mountain lions, rattlesnakes, and moose. So Barbara's fear of heights also made her actively avoid getting too close to any cliffs that she would encounter during the hiking sessions. So this makes it also a little bit mysterious, her disappearance, because if she is afraid of heights, and it was stated in the research that she is actively avoiding cliffs, then we kind of have to throw that possibility out of the water also. And besides, Jim would probably hear her screaming or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
It's bizarre.
I think it's really weird that like Jim never really reported hearing her scream or anything. No gunshots, nothing.
You think Jim is being suspicious?
Why though?
Well, there's no obvious motivation,
Yeah.
but I guess let's walk through the rest of the details, right?
Let's go for it.
At the time that she went missing, Barbara had been taking pilot lessons, and she was eager to get her license, which is amazing. She was legit trying to learn how to fly planes. That's cool. Additionally, she was learning how to ski. According to her husband Carl, his wife was very happy with their life together and had no real complaints. So seems like we also have to throw out the possibility that she would commit self-harm or wanted to disappear and start a new life. That's not what she wanted to do.
Honestly, so far, I have this impression that she is an adventurer. She was an adventurer.
Yeah.
Being a pilot, taking those classes and doing skiing at the age of
55.
55.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
That's impressive. Maybe she was recently retired and she had some time on her hands. you know?
It seems like there's so much plans for her to even consider herself harm. Of course, we don't know for sure, but I'm just saying, seems like she was active.
Yeah, but also that type of a person who's always kind of trying to do something new.
Might be running away from something.
Yeah. Also, there's a possibility that this person would want something new eventually. Mm-hmm. But according to Carl, this was not the case. So, and I believe Carl when he said that, it seems like it wasn't of her own accord, the disappearance. So let's move a little bit into the whole setup, what led to her disappearance. So now we're gonna jump to July of 2007. So it's in the middle of the summer, 2007. Carl's cousin, Donna Biles, came to Montana for a visit and brought along her boyfriend, 58-year-old Jim Ramaker. Barbara always enjoyed taking guests with her on hikes to show them the scenery, but her husband Carl had stopped coming along on these walks after suffering a heart attack, so Carl could not participate anymore. The initial plan was for Barbara, Donna, and Donna's boyfriend Jim to hike the favorite trail of Barbara's, the Bear Creek Overlook, a moderately challenging 2.6-mile trail. It was about a 15-minute drive from their home. But when Donna woke up that morning of July 18th, which was a Wednesday, she found that she was still hungover from the drinks that they all had the night before, and she decided that it wouldn't be a good idea for her to go hiking. So actually Barbara and Jim still decided to go. So that's how we end up with this very strange pair of people kind of going on a hike. It's basically Barbara and Barbara's husband's cousin's boyfriend. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Yeah, so Barbara woke Carl up and told him that she was going to take Jim to the Overlook and that they would be back later. She didn't, I think, specify when exactly she would be coming back, but I think it was assumed that it shouldn't take longer than
couple of hours, maybe?
Yeah, a couple of hours until the afternoon. So if they left by around 9 a.m. in the morning, I think it would be
By midday, probably.
like around 1 p.m. They should be back.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, it was her favorite trail, so I'm immediately assuming that she's been there multiple times and she probably knew the route.
Yeah, that was the understanding that she was a very well experienced hiker in that particular route. So Barbara's husband Carl spent the morning working on a carpentry project. We don't know much about it, but that's what he was doing. So when the afternoon came, Donna, Carl's cousin, was starting to feel anxious about the fact that Barbara and Jim hadn't returned from their hike yet. So Carl, actually, on the other hand, he knew that his wife was an experienced hiker and extremely familiar with that particular trail. So he reassured his cousin that there was nothing to worry about and that they would be back any minute now. Yet there was still no sign of either of them an hour later. And this is when Donna began to panic and suggested that Carl would call somebody. So he was about to do just that. But actually, as he was about to call someone, we don't know who exactly, his own phone started ringing at around 2 p.m. that day. He remembered picking up the phone and hearing an unfamiliar voice on the other end. He learned that Jim had reported Barbara missing while they were on the trail. Carl immediately drove to the hiking site, hoping that his wife would have been found by the time he got there, but he was devastated to find that this was not the case. And as he went to the hiking trail, Barbara was still officially missing. Crazy. So let's talk about what Jim Ramaker, the guy who allegedly was with her on the trail, told the authorities. According to Jim, he and Barbara, they hiked the full length of the 2.6-mile trail, the Bear Creek Overlook, and then they stopped to have a bite to eat. They came across other hikers, 2 young men. According this time, and the group was, I don't know what's happening with my notes here. According to this time, blah blah blah. I don't understand what I wrote here, but what happened next is that apparently they all talked for roughly half an hour, for like 30 minutes.
So they were walking together at one point,
Yeah,
and just having a conversation.
Barbara, Jim, and 2 men.
Unidentified.
2 young men.
And they never really identified themselves.
They never came forward.
Is there a possibility that they may have done it, or is there a possibility that they never even heard of this?
I would say that it's more likely that they never heard about the case, because Barbara's case wasn't a very widely publicized case.
Oh.
And especially if they were out of town.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's an out-of-towner.
Yeah, they may have never heard about Barbara's case. And to this day, they could have some important information, but they just never heard about the case. Or there could be something else happening. They could be sinister. So basically, they were walking and talking for about a half an hour, and they were all allegedly admiring the scenery together. Now, it's unknown exactly when the 2 men left, or how far ahead of Jim and Barbara they may have walked past. But Jim stated that he and Barbara started to head back at around 11:30 a.m. that day. At some point, Jim stopped to look around. He said that he did this for no more than 45 seconds before turning back and finding that Barbara, who had been 20 to 30 feet ahead of him, was no longer there.
20 to 30 feet away from him.
Go Google it, please. I have no idea what that is. I was like hoping that I did the... Yeah, I'm sorry, man. 20 to 30 feet, I have no idea what that means. We need some meter.
Okay, go ahead. I'll catch up.
No, I need that to kind of build the picture in my head. It's okay. Like, no pressure. It's just a quick Google search.
9 meters.
Okay, 9 meters. Okay, that makes more sense. So 9 meters. So let's think about it. 9 meters.
That's 30.
That's okay. So let's say 9 meters. And so, as I understand,
In my head, I thought they
Yeah.
were walking together.
I could see how they're like not walking together at this point because it's
She's
been
way, yeah.
yeah, it's been a long hike. Maybe he's, I don't know, like taking a picture or something like that.
Yeah, it's the first.
Yeah.
It was his first time in that trail.
And maybe like I could see how there's a circumstance where there is like a 9 meter gap between of them, or like 30 feet gap between of them. I could see how that's a possibility. And then apparently, so Jim stops. He looks around at something for 40 seconds, and then he turns around and he now doesn't see Barbara. So I have a lot of kind of problems with this statement. One of the things that jump out to me is that this doesn't seem like a natural way of exploring together, because think about it, you are like 9 feet away from each other, which I could understand that happening. But if you're already 9 meters away from each other, and Barbara is legit just going back from the trailhead, she is gonna keep walking. Why would you, as Jim, stop, look the other direction, and wait for 40 seconds and turn around?
I could see that happening, honestly.
Why would you do that? Like, that doesn't seem like a natural way to walk on a trail together.
On the contrary, because whenever we go, remember the last time we went on a walk in, I think in a forest outside of Vilnius a little bit.
No.
But there was this thing. You were walking ahead of me, and I was just walking slowly, my pace, admiring the view.
But would you stop, look around for a minute?
Yeah, if it's beautiful, I could definitely see myself doing that.
But
Maybe
I'm
take a
walking.
picture.
But I'm walking.
Yeah, because in my head, I would think I could catch up.
Really? Up to like 45 seconds? Mm-hmm. Because I could make so much progress.
Yeah, but if I think I could catch up, I would definitely stop and admire the view. And especially if I'm not from a certain area and it was beautiful, I would really just stop and take a look around, especially when we're heading back.
But why would Barbara then keep walking?
It could be a case wherein she's already like an expert of that trail. She already know the twisties and the twirlies. She was just like going down, doing her own thing.
What if Barbara was uncomfortable with Jim? Because think about it. Why would they even speak to two young men for a half an hour? I could see how I'm not saying that this is what happened, and this is a complete speculation, but I could see how Barbara was maybe uncomfortable with Jim or something like that, because maybe Jim was weird, and she wanted to talk to the two young men. That's why that whole conversation lasted like a half an hour.
No, I think it's already like possible. They could be just really friendly over there.
You think so?
Yeah, because they could have just started a conversation. They were heading in the same direction. They were admiring the views, and then just time flew by. So far, I don't see anything out of the ordinary, unless Jim was a creep.
Yeah, well, to me, this statement also doesn't sit right. I'm not gonna lie, but let's proceed here. What happened next? He made his way back to the trailhead and found the construction workers there. The road leading to the trailhead was closed for maintenance on that particular day, so it's unclear when exactly the workers arrived to the location, but when Jim came across them, he asked if they had seen Barbara and gave a short description of her. They hadn't seen her, but did remember seeing two young men with a black and white dog exit the trail earlier. So that's kind of interesting. Two young men with a black and white dog exit the trail earlier. Now, we don't know if it's the same two young men that Barbara and Jim had spoken with on the trailhead earlier, and I think they probably are not the same.
I don't think so, because then Jim would say that there was a dog.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. So they're. Since where did this dog come from?
Mm-hmm. Like, how popular is this trail?
But then you have to think about those two men, because they walked past, as I understand, they walked past the construction workers, and I think Barbara, if she was trying to get out of the trail, she would also have to walk past that area. So if the two young men walked past that area first, maybe they had at some point intercepted Barbara, foul play happened, and then they walked down.
In the span of 45 seconds.
No, not 45 seconds. I think maybe there was a rational explanation how Barbara is like far away from Jim, and Jim's kind of like trying to like see where she's at. And then those two guys with the dog think that she's like easy prey because they don't see Jim around, and they snag her.
True.
But that's just speculation. So Jim reported her missing after that, and the search for Barbara began as quickly as possible. Carl, Barbara's husband, remained at the Bear Creek Overlook until midnight that day. He was desperate to find his wife. He was encouraged to go home and rest, which he finally did. The following day, he came back with a group of friends and neighbors who wanted to help him look for Barbara. In the coming days, several ground search and rescue teams, accompanied by search dogs, were organized to look for Barbara Bolick. Aircraft using infrared and thermal imaging were utilized as well. Strangely, nothing whatsoever was found. Not only was Barbara missing, but he couldn't find no evidence that she was even on the trail on that day. Yeah. The dogs were unable to pick up her scent anywhere.
Oh no, that's super creepy.
So now we have to think, is Jim completely telling lies here? And did they even go on that trail today?
I would say like, yeah.
Yeah, it's now a new theory
I had
pops.
goosebumps.
Yeah, a new theory pops in. We don't even know if Barbara was on the trail. So Jim Ramaker could be potentially lying about the whole thing.
I mean, if she was never in the trail, so even the two men
What do you
were
mean?
a complete lie. Two men they were talking with.
They have never came forward, and they have never been found. Yeah, it's not looking good for Jimmy, but maybe he's innocent, but it just looks kind of weird right
It's
now.
really weird at this point. No, seriously. It's like
Yeah.
two men you had a conversation with for 30 minutes never really came forward. Maybe they were sinister. Maybe they never really heard of this case.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was a complete lie.
Also, I would suggest that if you have your phone, right? Could you open up the file? There's a wanted poster that I kind of want us to look at, but it's coming up, so just grab that one. I think it's gonna be easier for us to, but not right now. Just give me a few seconds. So, after 2 weeks of intensive searching and investigation, Ravalli County Sheriff Chris Hoffman said that Barbara's disappearance was a complete mystery after 2 weeks. He said that we are perplexed. He said that we have combed the area in the vicinity of the disappearance very well. No trace at all has been found. We would like to verify, if we can, that Barbara was even on the mountain that day. So 2 weeks in, law enforcement sort of makes statements that would think that they might be thinking that Jim is lying. So I feel like 2 weeks in, they were thinking that Jim is shaky.
Honestly, at this point, I would also say Jim is the culprit here because we started this case. We started the podcast when you were talking about it and when you were telling the story. I was immediately thinking, oh, could be bears, mountain lions. She could have slipped. But in the span of 45 seconds and Jim never heard of like anything like that, it's very interesting. But now, with this new information, I would say everything points to Jim.
Jim.
Yeah. Could be innocent, but lying.
So Jim told the police about the two men that they had encountered on the trail, and law enforcement attempted to locate them, unsure if they were locals or vacationers. And we have a poster from that time when law enforcement was trying to identify them. So from the poster, we see two men, a car, and a dog. So one of the men is apparently early 20s, white male, reddish hair, clean cut, slender, athletic build. And another one is early 20s male, black hair, dark skin, average athletic build. We have a vehicle that's similar to like this light colored SUV, so like a old school type of American SUV. I don't know where this vehicle comes into place. I have no idea what's the explanation behind it. And then we have a dog, a black dog that is also on the poster. So I'm going to be showing this poster on the YouTube channel, so I don't know, some listeners could take a look. I don't know, man. Any reactions? I mean, there's nothing to react to here. It's just a random poster.
I mean, it's... How well did they know Jim?
So, Barbara didn't know Jim, as I understand, before this vacation ever happened.
How about the cousin? Oh, that's a cousin?
No. So...
Wait.
So Donna...
Oh, yeah, Donna, the cousin.
...is the cousin of Carl. Who is the husband.
And how long have they been together? Or how long have they been dating?
Who?
Donna and Jim.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Because now I'm thinking, how well did they know this person?
Well, let's keep going. To this day, they've never been identified, the two men, while it might appear quite odd and possibly even suspicious that the two men never came forward. It is also important to know that Barbara's case never received a great deal of media attention, and it's possible that they were, and still are, unaware that she is missing, especially if they didn't live in Montana. And this is where we jump to the theory section of the podcast. So many people found it odd that Jim heard nothing strange the day that Barbara went missing. There's a lot of loose shale rock around the Bear Creek Overlook trail, making it difficult, if not impossible, to move about quietly. Because it's, I think, that type of a terrain where every step you kind of hear like things like that. So it's kind of like hard to escape without making any noise.
Yeah, so if she was taken by, let's say, a bear or an animal, it would make a lot of noise.
And I think there would be more like proof that she was attacked.
Dragged.
Yeah.
Right?
Because they
Or
found
slipped.
nothing. They basically found nothing, and law enforcement even said a couple of weeks into this, they are not even sure if she was on the trail. So that means they absolutely found nothing on the trail that belonged
That's
to her.
terrible.
Lead investigator Penny Johnson stated that it's hard to creep quietly across loose shale rock. You'd make some noise. Just the fact that someone simply disappears like that is a cause of concern. So the first batch of theories is that she either got attacked by an animal or she had an accident. Per se, maybe she fell off a cliff. So if she'd been attacked by a wild animal, you would expect that to have some evidence of that in the area. Jim likely would have heard screaming or sounds of a struggle, so it's strange because Jim never reported anything like that either. It has also been suggested that Barbara may have fallen suddenly and not had time to call out. However, her fear of heights made her especially careful around cliffs. Additionally, this was her favorite trail and she was very familiar with it. That being said, it's possible that she slipped unexpectedly and was trapped in a crevice or cave, though it's odd that the extensive search was unable to find any trace of her or her hiking gear. So I would say that, in my opinion, it's highly unlikely that she was attacked by an animal or she fell. From the information that we have, I don't think that's what happened.
Yeah, I agree.
Another one is that she had potentially started a new life or ran away on purpose. This happens often in missing person cases, and police initially wondered whether Barbara had decided to leave her life behind and start over somewhere else. As with other theories, there was nothing to support this theory. In addition to the fact that she appeared to be very content with her life, she also left behind her wallet, ID, passport, and other valuables, as well as her beloved dog and cat. Also, she and Carl had planned an upcoming fall trip to the Mexican Riviera, for which they were both excited. So it seems like that's a very unlikely situation. And according to the U.S. Attorney for the District of Montana, Jesse Lasovich, trying to build a life after disappearing would be extremely difficult. It would be highly unlikely for Barbara to still be alive at this point, especially if they had tried to leave the country. Someone leaves the country, they would still need some kind of identification. The United States works closely with the Canadian government on these kinds of things, so it just would be really difficult for someone to just disappear to start a new life with nothing. Also, there would be some repercussions for Barbara if that was the case. An obstruction of justice charge would likely be pursued against her. So if she was purposely missing, she would have legal problems in America right now. So she's probably not doing that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's just a little too, I don't know, the timing is odd.
So that leaves us with the most obvious situation that there's some sort of foul play here. So some have theorized that this could be the case of foul play, and that Jim was the last person known to have seen her. Did he do something to her? And could he have hidden her body well enough in an area with which he was unfamiliar that she'd never be found? Another possibility in the scenario, one that could explain why the search dogs found no trace of Barbara's scent, is that something occurred before they ever arrived at the trail that day. They took Jim's rental car to the Bitter Root Valley, but did Barbara make it there? Perhaps not. However, it's unclear what Jim's motive would have been. Some people might assume that Jim could have concocted a more convincing cover story if he was responsible for Barbara's disappearance. Because yeah, he could have probably made a better story, honestly, than what he came up with. But honestly, maybe not. Because that's okay, if you're Jim and you're responsible for Barbara's disappearance, and let's say Barbara never even went to the trail, what kind of a better explanation would you have?
Or at least make it less obvious. Maybe actually get her to the trail and then do the thing there, whatever you have in mind.
And maybe don't make it seem like it's just 45 seconds.
Yeah. You could say that you got lost. You walked to the right when you're not supposed to, and then you got a little bit lost, and then you couldn't find her.
Yeah.
So Jim could have potentially he probably was telling the truth then?
No, I don't think so. I think, honestly, I'm leaning towards that Jim is somehow responsible. But
is there a possibility? I'm so sorry. I just wanted to ask. Is there
course.
A possibility that the rain could have washed everything away? And if it rained that day, weather conditions?
I don't know. But it was never mentioned.
So it probably didn't rain.
It probably didn't rain. It was never mentioned. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking that. Okay, let me finish here with the information that I have here, mm-hmm. and then let's kind of conclude here. So, Carl was devastated by the mysterious disappearance of his wife. He found it difficult to eat or sleep for weeks, and he ended up losing 35 pounds over the course of that summer. Jeez. Years later, he described his thoughts. I just couldn't accept it. I just knew that she was going to show up, one way or another, but it didn't happen. It still hasn't happened. I don't have the answers. I wish I did. There's just nothing. That's what's so perplexing. The loss of his wife also made him overthink his actions during their marriage, wondering if he had taken her for granted. And he said that, you say, oh my God, why did I do that? Why wasn't I more attentive? So I don't know what that means. Does that mean that he thinks that maybe Barbara wanted to run away or something? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think he's just kind of blaming himself as I wouldn't say as he should, but it's understandable, what he's feeling right now. If only maybe he was thinking if he joined the trail or if he didn't let Barbara go,
yeah,
she would have been there.
Yeah. So the interesting part here is that Jim Ramaker actually remained very cooperative with law enforcement. And he and Donna soon drifted away from Carl.
What?
Yeah, Donna and Jim, they drifted away from Carl after this incident. So I feel like
I don't get it.
there's something that's like there's some more information here that we don't know.
It seems so, yeah.
Like seems like there's something more happening there. So Donna and Jim, maybe Carl was kind of like accusing Jim or suspecting Jim.
Potentially, yeah.
And then Donna was like, no, Carl was accusing Jim, and Donna was like, no, my boyfriend couldn't do it. And
Or
they
he could have
kinda
been just depressed. I mean, it's very understandable what he was feeling.
But it's kind of strange, man, that like they drifted apart afterwards. I mean, if Jim was completely innocent, would they really drift apart that much? I don't know, man.
Not necessarily, but at the same time, he remained cooperative, and that's what kind of,
Yeah, I guess you're
I
right.
don't know, confuses me. Like, if he's really guilty.
Apparently, he even offered to do the what was it?
The lie detector thing?
Yeah, the polygraph. But law enforcement said no, you don't have to,
Why?
because it's probably not the best thing in the world to begin with. The polygraph, it's probably stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know.
So, Carl passed away in 21 at the age of 80. He never knew what happened to Barbara.
That's terrible.
Investigator Johnson later reflected on the strangeness of the disappearance. This whole case challenges our life experience. Whenever we go hiking, we expect that we'll return to our vehicle with our hiking partner. We think nothing about it. That's just the way it is. And to this day, not a shred of evidence has ever been discovered regarding Barbara's disappearance. The truth of what happened to her, the woman who seemingly vanished without a trace on that long ago July day, remains a mystery.
This is really tough. It's like, it's one of those cases wherein you could just get completely like baffled and you have no idea like what to say. What do you think happened?
So I have a few things here. So my first question is, would Barbara walk away from Jim as he's there just looking around, knowing that it's his first time on the trail?
Why?
Why? Why would she walk away?
To start a new life.
No, like why would she even walk down the trail without him?
Oh, okay.
And what if Jim is telling the truth? Then what could have possibly happened to Barbara if Jim is telling the truth?
That's what I was thinking. Because
And I can't find an explanation.
yeah, because I could definitely picture myself, like Jim,
Yeah.
waiting 45 seconds, just looking around. It's his first time hiking in that particular trail, and I could just completely see myself doing the same thing. And what if he was telling the truth? What could have happened to Barbara?
I only think that she could have fell somewhere by an accident. That's the only explanation I have. That she fell down somewhere and it was a complete accident.
It's like, what, a cliff that she didn't see? And it was like, what, just a... I mean, there should be something at least. Like a scent.
Maybe not. Maybe it's possible. Maybe it's possible that she fell off a cliff and she was not found. Maybe it's possible.
Well, at least we have the first theory. One theory.
Yeah. So this is another thought I have. It's not necessarily a theory, but I'm wondering, what were they drinking the night before? Like, is there a possibility that there is some sort of a drink-related reaction? Because Donna was hangover. So maybe they. I wonder, man. I wonder what were they drinking?
Definitely hard booze.
I think it was probably a hard booze or something, but we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know for sure.
Maybe
But-
it was just some beers or some wine.
Oh yeah, true.
Or maybe it was some hard stuff. You know, that like, is it possible that like Barbara had like some sort of a delayed reaction and some crazy stuff happened on the trail?
Or she was still like a little bit drunk on the trail.
not drunk, I think, but
Hangover.
maybe she also wasn't feeling well, but she wanted to kind of show Jim around.
Yeah, potentially.
I don't know. Another thought I had, what about those two construction guys? Are we...
Did they ever came forward to support Jim?
Yeah, well, they were there when police showed up.
Oh.
What about those guys? Two construction guys.
It's a little too tough to accuse them or like think of them as potential culprits because we don't know anything about them.
Yeah, that's true.
And
That's
they
true.
were never investigated to begin with.
Yeah.
We need more information about them, definitely. But yeah, it's hard to create like a theory about them in this case.
So that's how I understand it. For me, Barbara Bolick's case is that I think that she, you know, it's so hard to say. It's really hard to say, but I will say that this is my final statement, is that I feel like Jim is very suspicious in my opinion. And I have, I suspect that Barbara never made it to the trail
To begin with. Shit. Yeah.
and then you have to think about what could have happened, because the drive was only 15 minutes away and they took Jim's rented car. So
And the rented car was never investigated.
yeah,
So they never really like opened up the car and checked for anything, DNA.
and you
Blood.
know, it is said that Barbara used to have the revolver in her backpack. What if, you know, at some point they stopped somewhere and Jim was just playing around with the revolver and accidentally shot Barbara?
Or maybe not accidentally, maybe intentionally.
Or one way or another. Just got rid of her body, threw away the bag, went to the hiking trail, fabricated the
How
interaction with the two people. Never happened. Came back down, reported her missing. No one ever saw Barbara. There's no signs of Barbara. Barbara has been murdered by Jim somewhere, even before they even get on the trail, and that he
Where's
escapes.
the body though? Because as someone who is not familiar with the place, how can Jim hide it so well?
Also, these rental cars, I think nowadays they have the GPS tracking for like safety purposes. I wonder if they ever looked at the GPS of the car. If it
I
even
don't
had
think
GPS.
they even searched the car. Honestly,
I think they did.
they did.
I would assume they did,
Did
because
they maybe, I don't know, find the DNA that she was in the car?
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure they searched the car, because 2 weeks into her disappearance, they already made a statement that kind of incriminates Jim, that they are not even sure that, you know, Barbara was on the trail to begin with. That obviously incriminates Jim. So if they are thinking that Jim could have been responsible 2 weeks into her disappearance, of course they went back to the car. Come on.
It was a rental. So
Of
what if it was already cleaned?
No, they went back to the car.
Okay.
I just can't believe that they never went back to the car. They definitely went to the car, but they probably didn't find anything.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
What happened?
What happened? Well, this is, I mean, I guess I can't really conclude firmly like what happened here, but I would like to say to the audience members, if you have some thoughts right now, that's like something super obvious that we're missing, please let us know in the comment section of our YouTube channel. We always read the comments. And please subscribe and do everything, and just subscribe to our stuff.
Do everything.
Do everything. And yeah, so anything else you would like to mention about this case, Rain?
I just find it so baffling.
Me too.
I'm in a complete zero clue on what to think and what,
Yeah.
like, which direction to go to.
Me too, but this is where we have to leave it here. I don't think we can speculate anymore because I ran out of ideas here. Please enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and we'll talk to you very soon. Thank you.